Hey guys, if you ask enough people, you might just figure out that philosophy and hip-hop don't really go together. And that's because one of them is this pristine discipline where humans try to seek knowledge and innovation and try to better themselves, and the other one is, well, philosophy. No, but seriously, haven't you noticed that all we talk about when it comes to hip-hop or rap music is how rowdy it is and how party-centric it is, how we only drink lean or smoke marijuana or fuck bitches or go clubbing. Don't worry, I'm here to toss that out the window, because today we're going to talk about philosophy and rap music. Is this a genuine learning experience for all of us, or is it just shitposting? Yes. Childish Gambino, world star because the internet. But Donald Glover on this track has this amazing line in which he says, "My girl ain't bad, she more like evil." And this is a painfully obvious shout out to Friedrich Nietzsche. In the first essay of The Genealogy of Morals, Friedrich Nietzsche traces the origins of the value judgments we call good and evil and good and bad, these two distinctions. At first, good used to designate the values that the nobility of the ancient Greeks had at that time. The people in power at that time were the aristocracy, and they had very Homeric values that they clung themselves onto. Things like war and things like creating a good argument and things like creating beauty through poetry or painting. And they used the word bad to designate people who were not part of the aristocracy, people that Friedrich Nietzsche would call the pöbel, the common man, the people who were below the aristocracy. And at some point in time, the priestly caste rose to power. They got the power from the people because they were thought to be in close association to God, and the people thought that the priests could decide who got to be saved and who got to be punished by God. However, the priests lacked the real power that they yearned for. They wanted armies to control, they wanted to invade countries, expand their own empire, they wanted political influence, and this made the priests resent the ones in power, the nobility. Friedrich Nietzsche calls this ressentiment or resentment. This is a very key factor in his explanation in his genealogy. What the priests did and what the priests' followers did was they caused a split in the good and bad dichotomy we just talked about, and they made a new dichotomy called good and evil. And a prime example of this, according to Nietzsche, would be the Jewish people, because the Jewish people created this narrative of themselves being weak and meek, and nobility being evil, being strong, being powerful. So this narrative was like the Jewish people were the pure ones, were the ones closest to God, whilst the other people were the impure ones, were the ones who had a strained relationship with God. Ressentiment is what made human beings interesting to Nietzsche. It's very reactive, it's very negative, it's just pure force of hatred. Because earlier you would look at the bad people, the nobility would look at the bad people and they would say, well, it sucks to be you. Now the things have changed. We have pure fury and hatred, and that's interesting to Nietzsche. So when Childish Gambino says that his girl is not bad but she's evil, it's not about the girl, it's more about himself. It may just mean that he hates the girl for being successful, for going on Vine, becoming popular by twerking her ass as it is in the song. Childish Gambino or Donald Glover does not have those advantages. He can only be famous or popular or successful if he works at it. And this brings us to the track Sad by xxxtentacion from the album ? I'm really trying to sort of philosophize the entire song, but if you want a particular set of lyrics, then look at this. Suicide if you ever try to let go. I won't fix, I'd rather weep. X is such a clusterfuck of potential philosophy that it was difficult for me to wade through the possibilities of where to put him. So I settled on Sigmund Freud's notion of death drives, or Thanatos. The death drives was sort of introduced in the book Beyond the Pleasure Principle from 1919. The pleasure principle is what underlies all of human psychology according to Freud. It's the framework in which we're moving about. We're trying to obtain pleasure in every way we can. We're seeking that sexual thrill, that sexual discharge, and we'll do everything we can to obtain it. However, the pleasure principle is sort of interfered with by what he calls the reality principle, which is, this struggle, this tension between the id and the ego. The id wants us to experience all of this pleasure, the ego trying to figure out a way for us to obtain these pleasures by realistic means that sort of conforms with society's expectations of us. And Freud noted that through repetition compulsion, through certain children's games, through certain recurring nightmares, through self-destructive behavior, we move beyond this principle of pleasure. Because Freud speculates that we seek gratification, we seek pleasure from things that are usually cut off from pleasure, from gratification. The possibility of a release, the possibility of pleasure turns into pain because we repress these urges. This is what he calls repetition compulsion. Because Freud speculates that we do things not in accordance with the pleasure principle because the aim of all life is death. Because as human beings we want to remove the struggle, the tension between the id and the ego, and death offers us this consolation. Basically, when you're dead, there's no struggle between the id and the ego, and it's not necessarily this suicidal urge. It can be, but usually it's sort of directed toward being done with it, being complete, being finished. So xxxtentacion is using repetition compulsion to fight off all of these death urges, all of these death drives, all of these urges toward completion, just like all of us. You guys are the best. I hope you like this video, I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I hope you let me know in the comment section below what I should talk about next when it comes to rap and philosophy. Thank you for watching, and bye! There you go. Done.